Welcome, everyone, to the debut episode of the Stir podcast right here in Stir Pod Studios in Howell, Michigan, where I, your host, Kasey Helton, along with my co-hosts, Jace Arledge and Nikitin, are here to bring you the local tea on all the issues, county, school, statewide. We're going to cover it all with some keen observations and analysis, as well as some fun and good vibes. So for our rundown today, we're going to be featuring an interview with Katy and Quentin. Now, these two are staffers at Flextech High School in Brighton, and recently Flextech made headlines when, on the very first day of school, their parking lot was vandalized in a despicable incident. So we have Katy and Quentin here to talk to us about how that incident affected them, how it affected their students, what the student response was, and to talk also to us a little bit about diversity in education and why that's important. And then after that, we're going to wrap up with the section we call Good Vibes, because we want to end our show on a positive note. And we're going to talk to you at the end about how you yourself can submit content for our Good Vibes, and we will put your pictures, anything you want that gives good vibes, we're gonna put it up and include it as part of our show. So that is basically the rundown of the show for today. And speaking of good vibes, allow me to introduce you to Mr. Good Vibes himself, my co-host, Jace Arledge. So Jace, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's see. I'm married. I have to a beautiful woman.
And her name is
Sandy. Mm-hmm. Yes, she's my soul. She's my soul. I have 5 children.
5 children.
Yeah, 5 children, all the way from 30 years old to 18. My youngest will be 18 in October, so I'm hitting there. I'm a retired teacher.
Okay.
I have a master's degree in history education and curriculum and instruction. I taught in South Carolina. I taught in Detroit. My school closed, so when that happened, I got out of teaching. I didn't want to teach anymore because it just was getting too volatile of a workplace. But I did go to seminary school.
Yeah. So you have formal religious training as well?
Yes, and I had to do that.
Are you a reverend? Is that
no, I'm a youth minister.
A youth minister, okay.
So I had to do that so that I could be a youth minister. So I worked for 2 different denominations. I worked for a Catholic church, and I worked for Howell Presbyterian Church.
Oh.
So I worked right here in the county.
Yeah.
I also write a column in Fowlerville News and Views, and I started doing that about maybe 4 years ago, and my wife said, you should write a book. So I think you have a copy or something.
I do have a copy of the book.
Yes.
I have read this book. This is a great book. Okay, so this book, it's called Till Next Time by Jace Arledge. It's available on Amazon. When I found out, I met Jace a while. I've known Jace for about a year. I met him officially, face-to-face, I should say, for the first time last year at Howell Pride. But I had been following his social media. He does a lot of TikToking. And we kind of have become friends over the past couple, year or so.
Right.
And, it was Jace and I who kind of got together because somebody had put a little bug in my ear that Jace had wanted to do a podcast. And I was a big fan of Jace's TikToks. He speaks at the Fowlerville School Board meetings regularly, and he does it so well. If you have not heard Jace speak at a Fowlerville School Board meeting, you have such heart, and you put so much just feeling into what you have to say, and it drew my attention. So I was very excited when I learned that Jace wanted to do a podcast. So him and I got together, we started talking, and then we met Ella.
Right.
And this is Ella Nikitin. We're so happy to have her with us. Ella is she's our super genius of this show.
Oh yeah.
Ella, if we didn't have you on this show, Jace and I would probably be doing this in a tin cans in a refrigerator box or something.
Yeah.
do better than that. I'm sure you would do better than that.
Maybe a little bit better. I don't know. But you did, I just want to get this out there. You did our amazing intro for our podcast.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Tell us about yourself, Ella, and what your passions are and how you got to be so talented with doing media.
Well, my main thing is just like programming and stuff, but like I do a lot of other stuff as well. You know, making videos and stuff.
So you like to do your passion, if I understand this correctly, you mod PlayStation 2 games.
That's one of the things I do.
Yeah.
I also, I made like my own. I made my own game. I'm actually gonna show it quick.
Show some of it.
Wait. So
you create your own games.
Yeah, a little bit.
Wow, that's a lot of talent.
Yeah.
That is not easy to do. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, so basically the way this works is you got this thread thing. It's got limited length.
And you made all this yourself?
Yeah, I made the physics and stuff.
Is that a kitty?
No, it is a bear because this is for a game jam. And the theme was bears. Teddy bears.
Okay, so this is a bear. Okay.
No, actually, no. It was stuffed animal protagonist. That's what the theme was.
Stuffed animal protagonist. So the bear is the protagonist.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and then here you are. So there's that picture of you with your signature ears on.
Yes. Yes.
Let's take a moment here because we like to address things head on here at the Stir. Do we not?
We like to wait forever and never address anything.
No, of course.
No,
we let people make assumptions about us and then not confirm or deny them.
That's what we're here for. We're here to say what's. Okay, I'm going to say it. What's up with the ears?
What's up with the ears, Ella? Tell us a little bit about them.
Well, I'm going to tell you what it's not.
Okay, what is it not?
Well, some people, for some reason, seem to get the idea that I'm, like, delusional and that I think I'm a cat or something, which is, like, utterly preposterous.
Well, of course
I have never said that I think that. It is a symbol. You know, it's a symbol.
Tell us what is it a symbol of? Because I want to talk about this a little bit more. Because you know what? First of all, I think it's important that people understand that no matter what Ella wears, she is a whole person, and that is her expression of style is only a part of who she is. Right. So why don't you tell everyone else? Tell us about your ears. Tell us what it symbolizes.
It's sort of actually a symbol of autism for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's good to know. So you have autism, and what is that like? What is that experience like for you, being out here in the county and even doing a show like this when you have autism?
I mean, the show is fine. I can do a show. The part where shit really hits the fan is when you tell me, okay, you know what? You have to call this phone number, and like I have to dial a phone number, and then I have to call them, and that absolutely terrifies me. Oh my God, it's so terrifying. But I go up to like a Heartland school board meeting and speak, and that's totally fine.
You do, and let me tell you, you are so fearless about that. That is the thing that I have learned about Ella, and we've only known each other for a few months. Yeah. I met you, I think, in person for the first time at Pride. This last Howell Pride, I think, or maybe just before that. I
thought we met the first time at the Memorial Day Parade.
Yeah, I couldn't remember which came first.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, obviously Memorial Day is in May, Pride is in June.
You cannot keep me straight with holidays. My husband's birthday is in 2 weeks, and I have a reminder set to my phone, like, every day, because I forget these things. So we met there, and what struck me about you most, and I had heard this from other people, is the way that you will just directly go up and talk to people in a very calm way, who may not understand you or even see you as a whole person, but you talk to them and you make them understand in your own way that you are a whole person and that you do demand respect, and you're inquisitive. You ask them questions. You really try to understand what it is, how it is that people think who may not fully understand the experience of being trans.
Yeah.
And then.
Oh yeah, that is a thing.
That is the thing.
Yeah.
Yes, because
but it's all about education. It's all about education.
It is.
Hey, look, it's the child indoctrinating thingy.
Let's take a breath here for 1 second. We need to all take one breath because this is you're going to see this flag. We are not on a show like this. We are about respect. We are about acknowledging people's existences, and people just need to take a breath, not only about this flag, but they need to take a breath about Ella's ears as well.
Right.
Anyone who has never experimented with their choice of fashion in their early 20s, you need to sit all the way down. That's what I want to say to people about Ella's ears.
Maybe they just need to sit just a little bit down, not all the way.
Maybe not all the way down.
I mean,
but partially sit down.
I'm okay with being called the cat, but not like every time. I have a name.
That's right. You have a name.
Right.
And you deserve respect, and you're going to get respect here, as well as all of our guests are always going to get respect on this show. We will entertain opposing points of view, and we will even have opposing points of view
within
ourselves.
us. Sure,
yeah.
Sure.
But there will always be an attitude of respect, and we will never demean anybody on this show for what they wear or how they talk or anything like that. We are done with the petty Betty on this show, okay? Right. We're here to talk straight issues, to analyze those issues, to learn about all kinds of people, and that's what we're going to do here on the Stir. So we hope you will keep staying with us. So with that being said, I guess I should probably introduce myself.
What about you? Give us a little bit of rundown.
Now that I'm off my soapbox about that. Here we go. Here we go. Here's a perfect example. So, show that picture, Ella. So, this is me. I'm Kasey Helton. I've been a resident of Livingston County for over 30 years, and I grew up here. And that's my husband, Jim. I met him out here in 2013. This right here, talk about crazy fashion. This is me. I played roller derby with the Brighton Roller Dolls for 10 years, and this was my regular getup that I would do right there on the rink with my team there. So you kind of get an idea, like everybody. I am not gonna be somebody to look sideways at anything that anybody wears, because I mean, look, I got the purple hair. I like things that are unique. I like people who express themselves uniquely. So, moving on to that, so here's a picture of me. That's my nephews, Liam and Connor, and then that's a picture of me when I worked at the Livingston Daily Press in Argus back in my early 20s. That's really where I started working out here in Livingston County. That's my old dog, Milo. I would bring him to work with me sometimes, and he would sit on the desk. Today I work in healthcare. That is that's my current job. But I did do this professionally for about 5 years out here in Livingston County, and I wrote news features. I wrote news and opinion, all sorts of stuff. I got to meet a whole lot of different people out here in Livingston County through that experience for about 5 years, and then I ran for office. I ran for office 3 times. I ran for county commission. And that was another opportunity for me to meet so many good people out here in the community. And it also gave me a platform to speak about local issues that affect everyone out here. That was the best part of running for office. It brought attention to those issues. So in that same vein, this is part of what I hope to do here, what we all hope to do here, I think, at the Stir. Is we want to call attention to some of those local issues, to the county issues, the school issues, the statewide issues that affect us out here. And as we move closer into 2024, when we're going to be deciding on our leaders moving forward, those discussions are going to become even more important.
Well, I think I also want to interject this so that everybody understands, okay? This is not just going to be a platform for the LGBTQ, okay? Even though that is a hot topic right now all over the country, I think that we need that to be known, that we're going to talk about issues that affect everyone.
Yes, absolutely.
Everyone. So we may talk about, the pride flag. We may talk about stuff, but
The
we're
environment.
also the environment.
Mhm.
We're going to talk about the environment. We'll talk about clean water, because
Yeah.
I mean, Flint still doesn't have clean water.
We have PFAS out here.
Well, and this
in
is what I'm
Hamburg
saying. So
Township.
we need to let you know that we're going to talk about this, because these are issues that some people don't want to watch the news, the local news, because most of the time it's full of crazy stuff, and
Right.
people don't want to bog their mind and their energy
Yeah.
with bad vibes.
Yeah, no, we want the good vibes
So
here.
we want the good vibes. So that's what we're here for, is for education purposes.
We're here for education, analysis, a little bit of critique. We're going to
Right.
have some critique today. We got plenty of critique coming at you, and that's going to lead me into my segue. But before I do that, really quickly, I just want to say some really quick thank yous. I want to thank my husband, Jim, who basically built this whole studio. I wish you all could see everything here. We got sound panels. He painted it. We got furniture. I am so appreciative. We would not have this show if my husband had not put in all that work. And like I said, his birthday is coming up here next weekend, and I'm going to do something really special for him.
Nice. Good. You need
So
to.
I want to
You
thank
need
him for
to.
that.
Yeah.
And I want to thank my
We
dad.
love Jim.
Jim, thank you, Jim. I
Yeah.
don't want to clap the mic, but thank you so much, honey. And another person I want to thank is my dad. My dad's a professional, he's a retired professional photographer, and he had all this lighting equipment from when he was working, his working days, and he donated all of this lighting to us, which I am so appreciative to him. He showed support to me that way, and I
Right.
cannot thank him enough for that. So we have good lighting in here because of my dad. And then the last person I want to thank is Ed Gentile.
Yeah.
Ed Gentile, our good friend Ed Gentile, who was just here in the studio earlier today, giving us feedback, kind of being a consultant, helping us stay on track. Thank you very much, Ed.
Yeah. Thanks, Ed.
So we touched on story ideas really quickly. I just want to let everyone know, if you have a story idea for something that you would like us to talk about on the Stir, you can send us an email right up here.
Yes.
stirpod@proton.me is our email address, and we would love to hear from you because we want to talk about what matters to you. We think that's really important. So please just drop us an email. So stay with us. We're going to talk to Katy Urban and Quentin Cotton about their experience at Flextech High School with the vandalism that occurred on the first day of school. We really hope you'll come back and join us. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone, to The Stir. Today, we want to welcome two very special guests, our very first guest that we've ever had here on The Stir, Katy Urban and Quentin Cotton. Welcome, Katy and Quentin, to The Stir.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourselves? You are staffers at Flextech High School, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about what your role is at Flextech High School?
Sure. Like you said, my name's Katy Urban. I'm the school social worker at Flextech. I have been there, I'm entering my 9th year with them. I previously split my time between our Brighton campus and our Novi campus, but for the last 3 years now, I've been at Brighton full-time.
And what about you, Quentin?
Yeah, Quentin Cotton here. And once again, thank you for having me. Not as long at Flextech, just recently moved here to Michigan. I currently live in Ann Arbor, just moved here with my husband from Wisconsin. At Flextech, I serve as the college and career counselor. And then, of course, in that capacity, I just work with primarily really on 11th and 12th graders, but in its entirety, I work with all students. Been there for a month. A little bit over a month now, and so excited, and of course, with the first day of school, reason why we're here, a lot of things have been going on, but I'm excited once again for a new year, and I'm happy that once again Ms. Urban and Katy's been able to join me today.
Yes, we're all very excited to have
definitely.
you. So, can you tell us a little bit about Flextech? What kind of school is Flextech, and what kind of students attend Flextech?
Sure, I can take over that one. Flextech is a charter school. We're a public school. We focus on project-based learning. So the idea is that our students engage with the content through large projects that demonstrate their mastery of a subject. So they're not taking tests and quizzes, rather they are using real-world applications to prove their knowledge and their mastery of the content that they're learning. Through that, they earn a diploma with us. We follow the Michigan Merit Curriculum. Our students, they take the PSAT, the SAT, all of that. We just sort of offer learning in a more non-traditional, maybe creative way. And so I think students that are drawn to us are students who they tend to be really creative, or just the traditional sort of brick and mortar school has not been successful for them and they're looking for something different.
And you have schools in other places too, not just Brighton, right?
Right. So Brighton was our first school. We opened in 2011. We also have a school it was Novi, now it's Farmington Hills, and we also have one in Shepherd, Michigan.
Oh, wow.
Wonderful. Quentin, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Speaking about just the type of students, specifically as Katy was saying, those students that might not have found the traditional of the school to be working for them. Usually right now, in my month there, I'm seeing students kind of like on both ends of like the spectrum. One, like the student that might be coming in as a ninth grader, or just wanting something more different because they were semi-successful, but it wasn't really truly working for them in the way that they learn, in the way that they engage with others, and maybe their district wasn't meeting their needs, whether that was how they identified, or whether that was just the everyday ins and outs of their high school career. And of course, those students that we see they might be really behind, and so there's an opportunity at Flextech, of course, to really to recuperate what was lost, or because we do have students who do work. We have students that do have sometimes maybe a 9-to-5, or might have to take care of other business. They have a real life and they have a family, or and at home sometimes there might not be both parents, and so they have true real life either barriers or obstacles, and so Flextech provides an opportunity to be flexible, to provide different types of pathways for students to get across that finish line, and to either one, they want to go off to college, or start a working career, or whatever that might be. There's just a place for any type of student to be able to find that path at Flextech.
I have a question for you guys. How many students? What is your numbers?
We are, one of the things that I really love about Flextech is that we are a smaller school. So right now I think we have about 150 students, which is great for Quentin and I, because I walk down the hall and I know every single student that I'm walking by, where that might not be the case if I was in, a larger school.
How many teachers do you guys have?
There are, I have to think now. There are 10 of us, I believe.
Oh, wow. So it's very individualized instruction with that ratio. Mm-hmm. That's great, because everyone learns differently.
Nice. That's
and
nice.
Every home life is different. And maybe, a traditional school, like you said, may not meet the needs of that individual student. Some people need to, I know this is how I am. I have to learn something. I have to actually do it hands-on. Like, traditional book learning, is
right.
more difficult.
I agree.
So, and they didn't have this kind of thing when I was in school. Like, you had one public high school, and that's really where you went, or you went to a private religious school. Those were your two options. So it's really remarkable that you have this option for students here in this county and around the state.
Yeah, one of the things we really encourage too is for students to pursue their interests with us, and that comes from the staff as well. So, for example, we had a student, I think last year, she earned some math credit and some of her competencies. They were learning about radius and circumference, and she ended up doing it by like crocheting shapes and
Wow.
was able to
Oh my
earn her
gosh.
math credit through that because she was interested in knitting,
That's-
crocheting, and so our math teacher worked with her to establish okay, this is what you need to be able to demonstrate and explain to me, and she was able to do it through the project, which was really cool to see.
That is really
Yeah, that's
cool.
awesome.
Especially,
Yeah.
as a person who always struggled with math, I can tell you I would have appreciated an option like that in my own education. So thank you for that background.
Yeah,
it sounds
thank
like
you.
Flextech sounds like it's a remarkable school, don't you think, guys?
Yeah, I do. I mean, if my son wasn't already a senior in school, I'd send him over there because he'd learn so much better.
Yeah. So let's switch topics just a little bit. So it was reported in the news on the very first day of school. Unfortunately, this was August 28th was the first day of school, and the incident happened the night before.
Yes.
That was my understanding. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about what happened there at Flextech on that morning of the first day of school?
So our custodian, Mr. Ray, who we love, he showed up to work, and he shows up before any of us. So I think he got there around 4. And he had noticed that there was something burning in the parking lot, which ended up being a pride flag. And then as he sort of walked around the building, was able to see that it had been vandalized. And when staff then began to show up and it started to lighten outside, that's when we were really able to sort of see what had happened. And, I showed up to work and I thought our kids spray painted and welcomed us to school. Cause that's not something that would have been uncommon for our kids to create this positive experience of entering the building. So to walk in and see all of this essentially just hateful language spray painted on our parking lot really was a shock to I think all of us.
I can imagine. Jace, you sound like you have something you want to say.
Well, what I'd like to know is why do you think your school was targeted?
It's something that honestly I think we've all asked ourselves a lot. My sort of take on it is that we work really hard to create this safe and inclusive environment and community for our students. And I think there are just people out there that don't like that don't, accept that. But that's our goal. Our goal is for our students to come in and be supported, to feel safe, to feel welcome, no matter who they are. We're all human. And so our goal is for this to be a safe and inclusive environment that you can come in and learn. Mm-hmm. But I think that unfortunately there are people who take issue with that.
Unfortunately.
And I'm hoping, on that first day, and I think, another background, into this is that, a week or so ago before this, Katy and I were in a different type of training. It was, more intense, an intense training. And in there, we discussed, what type of mode or everyone should be in, when it comes to being aware of their surroundings. And for those first couple of days, I kind of joked about it because when I went on Monday, my first day at school, I'm I've been working here about 3 weeks now. I'm, want to get here on time. I was running a little late, so I grabbed my coffee. I just walked straight into the building.
Yeah.
Didn't see anything, didn't see any graffiti, didn't see anything on the ground. I was very, tunnel vision. Just let me get in the building. Students are here. And so, my first my first preview of this was there's a little meeting on the side. Katy's over there, and, the principal and everyone's sitting down, all the teachers, professionals, and the principal just says, as everyone knows, there's graffiti or we've been vandalized. And I'm like, I didn't see anything. I'm sorry. My brain's what the heck are you talking about?
Right.
And then, of course, I go see it. I was like, oh, wow. I was in this tunnel vision. And, kind of my perspective on it is, with Flextech being a small entity, a very, very finite, and we're hidden kind of in the back of another whole, in this parking lot and it's secluded. I think of us, and as Katy was saying, it is a place, it's a facility where, there are students that come to the school that, once again, might not have had the best experience at their larger public school. And we do have a lot of students that either identify, LGBTQ+, or are trying to figure out who they are. And Flextech has, for a lot of people, has become that place, to go to. And so I do think that it being a smaller school and a school that really, as Katy was saying, we do, from what I've seen, pride ourselves on ensuring that it is a safe, inclusive place, and students can be who they want to be, dress how they want to dress, whatever their pronouns are wanting to be that particular day. We are very inclusive, intrusive in wanting to know, how is today, going for you, and how is tomorrow going to go for you, and how was your weekend, and wanting to know that information. I do think, it was targeted in a way where, it's a place in the back. No one's really it's not going to blow up.
Right.
Right.
They thought they could get away with it.
We can do what we want to do.
Right.
It's back here, and there might have been, part of it. And I think that, but as we go on, and, and of course, Katy was playing, just, how great the students that are there, how great they are, and how strong and the strong they are and what they did is just wonderful. But yeah, I just wanted to give kind of my perspective, it is a place in the back, and I myself just walked into school and was oblivious, thinking that would never happen to a place like this. But
well, you are a person of color. You are a black man, and you have a husband. You mentioned that early on. So I imagine this incident, once you learned about it, probably did affect you in a personal way to see this messaging, did it not?
Yes. As soon as it happened, I did text my husband, and he's a resident in Ann Arbor at the hospital, and first thing he responded back was like, "Oh my God, what have we gotten ourselves into?"
It's awful. It's embarrassing and terrible, and I cannot apologize to you enough as a member of this community for the shame that this action has brought on this whole community. So please know that. I think we all feel the same about that.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is certainly not representative of everybody here in this county, which is one of the reasons why we wanted to bring you on, because we want to tell your story in your own words so that people in our community know, first of all, how it affected you, how it affected the students, and, what your school is about. We want people to know about Flextech because it really sounds like a great place. Yeah. So really quickly, I have one question about because you mentioned it being in a secluded place, Quentin. I understand that all this was caught on camera. Do police have any updates on the investigation? And can you tell us what law enforcement agencies were called to the scene on this? Can you speak to that a little bit?
I don't have any sort of updated information as far as the investigation goes as of right now. I do know that, like you said, we had video, we have surveillance cameras. We turned that over to the police. Congresswoman Slotkin reached out to us.
She's great.
To put us sort of in contact with, my understanding is the FBI. So I believe that this is now being investigated at like a federal level.
Wow.
Good.
Okay.
The unfortunate thing is we have a sort of like a Ring doorbell to our school. So you have to be buzzed in, but it catches you on camera. And even if you walk in front of it, it starts recording. And they duct taped over that. So walking up to it, there were two individuals that had masks on. So there's not a whole lot to go off of in terms of identifying them that way. And I mean, truthfully, it was thought out. Like, they didn't drive into the parking lot. They walked in. They, moved around the parking lot and then took off through, my understanding is, the woods that are next to us.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask. That's when Quentin was talking about you guys being back. I know the woods back right up to that, or you back up to the woods. So, yeah, Perfect
And
in and out.
This was the Livingston County Sheriff's Department that was the primary investigator of this incident?
Yes.
And have they followed up with you at all? Like, I mean, have they been in contact with you as far as you know? Like, just keeping you updated on what their on their investigation? Because I think there's a lot of people in this community who would like to see the perpetrators of this crime get caught.
Yeah.
And have to pay for their actions.
Yeah, my understanding is that they have been in contact with our school leader, Dr. Hope. I haven't heard anything additional. I also, honestly, I haven't asked.
It's okay.
I have just sort of assumed, like, when there's something substantial to share with us that they will.
Okay.
And our focus really has been on, supporting students and making sure that they're all right.
Yeah, so let's segue over into that conversation because that's something we wanted to cover. So, can you tell us about what the student reaction was to this event and how it affected them? And then after we talk about this, I want to talk a little bit about some of the really positive things that students did in response to this, some positive messaging.
I think that there was a mix of responses. I think some of our students sort of had the same response as Quentin, where it was like first day of school, like let me like get going, and didn't realize or weren't paying attention, to the graffiti in the parking lot. We had students that were outraged, and I think a lot of students just felt upset. It was like, this is sort of like our space in our community, and someone has come in here and made it feel unsafe for us.
A violation.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And, we've had a lot of really great support from the community. I keep in touch with teachers who no longer work for us, and they all reached out and were like, what do you need? I will come paint over it this weekend. Like, I'll bring a power washer. What can we do to support you? Which I think speaks to the community that we've created, that, these people who no longer work for the school still feel this strong connection to it and want to make sure that it is taken care of. Parents were the same way. They reached out and it was like, what do you need from us? What can we do to help? How can we support you in taking care of this? And we're really lucky in that Dr. Hope and our facilities manager, I mean, they really immediately sort of got on it in terms of, okay, what can we get rid of right now?
Because it was spray paint. It was spray painted. It was not chalked on there.
No, it was spray painted.
Okay.
Now I have a question, because you're a charter school. Now, are you chartered through a college?
We are through Central Michigan University.
Okay. Have they spoken out? Have they said anything? Has the college, your charter, gotten involved in any of this?
You know what? I can't speak on that. I'm not sure. I don't know if they've reached out to Dr. Hope, I also haven't. I'm not sure if they've spoken out sort of publicly either.
Okay.
So I can't say for sure.
Because you would think that would be something that, would be important to them. Because, you're going to hopefully send some of your kids to Central. Maybe
maybe by us talking about this, maybe it will help get, maybe it'll get Central's attention and they will,
right.
Maybe step up and address it. But I wanted to talk a little bit. Ella, can you show the picture of the, what the students did on so I don't know if you can see this, but right now, they can't see it. Well, this is for our listeners who are actually watching our podcast on YouTube. This is a picture of the chalk art that some of these students did at Flextech to cover over some of this vandalism, and it's just beautiful. It's like LGBT, and then this beautiful flower over the swastika that was put in its place. So. I just love that
was cool.
so much.
That was cool.
I think everyone who saw that, and we got a lot of engagement when we posted that picture on the STIR Facebook page, that it made them feel a little bit better about what happened, to know that the students are going to be okay. And you can see it there, you know, in that image, that this was a violation.
Yeah, that's hope.
Hope.
That's
Thank
hope.
you, Jace.
That's
That's
hope.
exactly the word
I mean,
I'm looking
that's
for.
what I see. I see hope. I see that, you know.
Yeah, it was really something. So we're gonna close up here pretty soon, but I just have a couple more things I want to talk to you about, Katy and Quentin. So I think there are parents in this community who, so this community is still somewhat homogenous. We are starting to move it. As the demographics of this county change, as different people move here from, you know, seeking a more affordable housing, like and property that's not in the cities, we're starting to see a little bit more diversity in this area. I've lived here 30 years. My family moved here in the mid 80s. Okay. We moved here from Detroit. When we moved here from Detroit, we were outsiders, and like everyone knew it. You know what I mean? You kind of get labeled as outsider. We're like a white family of 4, and we still got flack just for like being from Detroit. So like what I'm trying to say is that this community it's diversifying slowly but surely. So, but there are still parents here who I feel do not understand or value, or some who even outright oppose the efforts of schools to introduce diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives into the classroom. And some call it even like, quote, indoctrination. I would like you to speak to what you would say as professionals in the field of education to those parents who are either unsure of what diversity, equity, and inclusion is, or outright hostile toward this idea. Like, can you talk about why is it so important that students have an understanding in secondary education of these principles, even if they're just like, if they're white students or what, you know, moving on into the professional field?
Yeah, big question.
It is a big question.
And of course, not only being new to Michigan, new to Ann Arbor, new to the county, and the Brighton area. Of course, I can't speak on the history of the county, but in regards to education, in regards to safe spaces, in regards to classrooms, when it comes to that space outside of home, where a student really spend most of their time, which is in a school setting. The lens or the way that I come at it is that no matter the creed, no matter the background, no matter your upbringing, ethnicity, color, your parents' job, what your aspirations are in life, no matter put all that to the side. I believe that every child, every student in K through 12 college, when they come in, should feel as if they are in a safe space. That's number one. Meaning, when they come in, they should not have to think about what's been said in the hallway, whether or not they can wear what they want to wear to school, whether or not they could go by a particular name that they feel more affirmed with, whether they go by a particular pronoun that they just feel more affirmed with because that's how they want to identify. No child or kid, teen should have to feel as if they cannot be themselves. And I think that no matter right wing, left wing, all of that, once again, all aside, I think that there's this ideal philosophy that when introducing other elements that are not normal, that is not the norm, that is not the majority, there's this thought process or this theory that, when implementing that's now going to become the new norm. If we're going to introduce LGBTQ culture or pronouns, then everyone has to go this way or has to, introduce themselves that way. If we're going to introduce additional Black history into the school, that, that this is the new norm and this is what everyone has to go by. And there is this fear that, oh, if we're going to do that, then we would there's no longer masculinity, or there's no longer us talking about, George Bush, not George, but, George Washington, or, speaking about the other, what has become the majority, or what has become the normal. And so my take on it is that newness is great. Mm-hmm. Providing opportunity for students in this space to be themselves. I trained in Michigan. I'm sorry, in Madison, Wisconsin, and I would tell the professionals that there's no data that says using pronouns hurts people. It doesn't hurt students. It doesn't hurt the culture. There's no data that shows that whatsoever. It's on the contrary. It's opposite. Being able to use pronouns only affirms people. They feel safer. Students feel safer when they go home. They feel better about themselves and better in the school setting. And so, the data to implement newness and to ensure that we're bringing everyone in and is that inclusive. There's only data that supports why it's great. Better. Why it's great because all these students are feeling safer. I don't want to take up all the time.
I wanted to add to that. So So when a student graduates secondary school and moves on to a professional education, be that in the private sector or the public sector, I think there is an expectation in these successful work environments that you do have an understanding of how to get along with people who are different than you. I work for Michigan Medicine, okay? So I work there. We have DEI policies that are written into our code of conduct, and we do that training regularly. And it is an expectation as a 200-year-old institution where we are serving patients, not continually for the past, since the early 1800s, that we do it with kindness, respect, and no matter what background you come from. And I think there's an expectation in the professional world that when people leave secondary school that go to college and then become professionals, that they're able to do that. Would you agree with that as a college and career counselor?
Oh, 100%. And my take on it all, and hopefully you understand what I mean by this next little piece I want to say is that Katy probably can say that whenever I
Uh-oh.
Go ahead, Katy.
What
we just
what
had
would
it
you have to say?
My sort of take on it is, working in education, my goal is just for these students to leave us and just understand sort of the value of human dignity.
Right.
You don't have to share my beliefs. You don't have to, follow what I believe. I just hope that you are able to respect the people that you're around and that you're sharing a space with.
Yeah. Basic human decency. Where has it gone? But like Jace said, there is hope. The hope is the young people. Is that not right?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I truly believe that.
And that's why Flextech is so important, and what you're doing is so important. And before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to add? I mean, anything you'd like to say, or do you think we covered it pretty well? Or I'm giving you the floor, both you and Quentin, who is back with us now. Sorry about that, Quentin. I think we might have lost you for a minute.
That's all right.
Do you want to finish your thought about what we were talking about with in the professional world?
You kind of hit on the decency and treating everyone with respect. And what I was going to say is whenever I meet a student or a new person, one of the first questions I usually ask, not when's your birthday? And I really ask that, not really to I want to know your horoscope or,
I'm a Taurus, by the way, just so you know.
I'm sorry, what is yours?
I'm a Taurus.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm just kidding with you. Go ahead and interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt.
I'm a Scorpio. But it's really it's for me to strip away everything. Yeah. And I was born, you were born. We have birthdays. Right. And from there, we can then, of course, talk about what's your favorite show. Okay, we have some similarities. Where does your name come from? I'll tell you, where does my name come from? And so I start with, like, when's your birthday, to just talk, strip away any differences, any things that you have in common, all of that good stuff. Is like, at the end of the day, I was born, you were born, we can have this conversation. We really don't have, it doesn't have to get any deeper than this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to know your social security number or your deepest, darkest secret.
Right.
It's just a simple respect, decency. I'm a human, you're a human. And we don't, if it's uncomfortable for you to say your pronouns, or if it's uncomfortable for me to say my pronouns, it's actually okay. And by it being okay, we can still respect each other. And I think that's like the real message in there is that,
that's what it is. That is what it is.
And if I do say mine, I'm okay with you not saying yours. Just please be okay with me acknowledging, saying my pronouns. And because that's how I want to introduce myself. And it's just respecting each other, and being decent with one another. I think that's just the big message that I think that everyone needs to bye.
What I'd like to know is, and I think we all would like to know, is if you were able to say something to who did this, okay? What would you say to them? Like, what would be your take? Either of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, I don't know that I have much to say to them. Really, I'm more impressed with our students and their resilience, and sort of like, you didn't destroy the first day for us.
That's right.
Our kids came in and they still had a great day, and they sort of took ownership of the space in the parking lot, and they covered, your hateful language with positive things. And I think that just speaks to our kids, and means more to me in acknowledging them and how just inspired I am by them than addressing these two individuals who honestly I just don't feel like deserve. They don't even deserve.
I 100% agree. Well, Katy and Quentin, we want to thank you so much for spending this time with us today on our very first podcast, and for being patient with us through some of the kinks. But I think it's just been such a pleasure talking to both of you. It's been so enlightening. And we just want to thank you for coming here on The Stir today.
Well, thank you for having us, and congratulations on your first episode.
Thanks. Yes. We hope you have a great school year.
Yeah, here's to a great school year.
Here's to a great school year, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, okay, folks, here on The Stir, we're going to take one more break before we move on to our next segment. That's our closing segment, and we are calling that Good Vibes. So tune in as we wrap this up. We have two great stories to share for Good Vibes. So we'll be right back after the break. All right, folks, we're back.
Yeah.
What an amazing interview that was with Katy and Quentin.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good. Very, very educational.
Yeah. What did you think, Jace, about what they had to say about hope? I thought that was so important. Do you agree, Ella?
I mean, yeah, it was important. I'm just a little bit worried because, I'm sure some people are going to, 5 minutes in, get to the part where they were like, oh, we're from Ann Arbor, and they're going, oh, we don't need to listen to them anymore.
Well, but that's, you know what? That's okay. I think that's what we're here doing.
Right.
Is we're trying to see, but I think it'll be the opposite way. I think people will want to hear.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think there's a lot of people out there. Well, there's a lot of people out here who are from other places, who have moved here from other places, like I talked about.
Right.
And I mean, this area, it continually keeps changing and growing, and I think that's a good thing. I think all of those experiences just add to the richness of our community, and we can make Livingston County a great place if we can all just learn to listen to each other, respect each other, and appreciate each other. Appreciate those experiences. It's a good thing. It's positive.
Well, and that's what he said.
Yes, absolutely.
If I want to say my pronouns and you don't want to, oh well, just move
I
on.
mean, yeah, using pronouns is actually really good too because it saves a buttload of time.
It does.
Like, imagine if I had to say, okay, now Kasey Helton is going to take Kasey Helton. I mean, like...
Yeah, that's why we have...
That's why you got to be careful with words. You can't
Right.
just say using pronouns. It means using preferred pronouns. You can't just leave that part out.
Well, let me tell you. So,
Here's the thing. Some people, for some reason, think that, like, you have to say your pronouns. I'm going to share a little fact.
Yeah.
I do not have my pronouns in my email signature.
and why is that?
I don't need them.
You don't need them. Yes.
They can look at my face.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Ella, and your name.
Yeah.
I mean, your name is Ella. I don't know of many men who are Ella.
Right.
So I would assume, but see, they're here. I'm going to be the opposite thing. I'm going to say this. I'd rather know than assume.
Right.
But
Right.
it's more fun
Yeah.
if someone
me
assumes
feel
correctly.
See, I look at you, Ellen, and I know I've told you this before. You are very feminine to me. Like, you present very feminine. I think you're very pretty. Like, I think you have beautiful bone structure. You've got
Right.
that, like, Eastern European descent, like, jaws and cheeks. Like, I wish I had that look.
Yeah. Well,
But-
anyways, guess what
but I
time it
did-
is?
Oh,
Good vibes!
Good vibes. Good vibes.
vibes.
Okay. We're moving on.
Wait.
Speaking of,
There we go.
what do we? Okay, we
Here
got.
we go.
All right.
Wait. Good
Okay,
vibes.
good vibes. Good vibes. So, why is it, you guys, that we decided to end the show on a positive note? Like, why is that so important? I think we all got together during our drive one and we said, this is really what we want to make happen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's simple. I mean, good vibes brings positivity. It brings out the good that's happening in the county.
Yeah.
Because there is good.
And the fun.
And the fun, yes.
And the cuteness. There's
Yeah,
going to be cuteness today. I'm going to give y'all a cuteness warning. You're going to get cuteness. But
Yeah.
not right now.
This here.
This is not necessarily cuteness. So I want to bring... I can see it over here. I want to bring up the first thing. Now, this was not something that somebody sent to us. I found this just scrolling through Facebook. I thought it was so funny. Like, okay, so WWJ News Radio ran this story a couple days ago about this Tom. He's Tom, like turkey.
Yeah,
That's what
turkey,
you call male
turkey.
turkeys,
Yep,
right? They're called
yep.
Toms. this
Look at
fella.
His name.
This fella's name is Dinner.
Yeah.
You want to talk about being... Now, if you don't like your name, there are people out there that don't like their names.
Yeah.
Like, imagine having the name Dinner and maybe even being, like, the potential of dinner. I don't know. I just think this is so funny. So anyway, it says here that there's parents in Brighton. They're irked by this big brown turkey that's been walking out into traffic. It's... I think this is so funny. Like, in the middle of school. Like, so not... Like, that is bold.
Yeah.
Is that not bold? Like, he could come out at any time of the day.
Right.
He could come out at, like, 3... maybe, I don't know. Like, what's a good time when school's, in the middle of the day? Like, 1 o'clock.
1
When the
o'clock.
kids are in school. He's like, oh, no. I'm gonna come out at, 8 o'clock in the morning, or
As they're
4,
dropping
3
your
o'clock.
kids off.
Yeah, I'm coming out, I'm presenting myself, this is who I am, and y'all can, like, deal with it. This is the energy of this turkey. I know, they're all, like, sitting there. And it just, there's a part of this story where it says, I'm reading it online, it says, there's people that are, other people are annoyed and irked by this. Okay, and I understand that. I'm not trying to minimize. I know that, like, getting your kids to school on time, like, that's an important thing.
Right.
But it turns out, I think they're working on a solution. People didn't know that this turkey was actually somebody's pet. They thought he was, like,
Well,
they thought he was a game
I mean,
bird.
maybe traffic jams wouldn't be such an issue if we weren't all reliant on cars. But that's a topic for a different time.
For a different story.
That's, if
This
we
is
had
good
public
vibes.
transportation in Livingston County, more, then there would be fewer people held up here by Mr. Dinner here.
Yeah.
So what did the owners say? I mean,
So-
I see it says here he was unaware, but what?
He says Dinner's owner did not disclose what he will do to keep his pet in his enclosure and keep peace with middle school residents. So he didn't disclose it. But apparently he sounds like he's got a plan. He came forward. This guy, I think he said his name is Joe. Yeah, he goes by Joe. It just says Joe.
He's gonna become Dinner.
Yeah,
That's,
I
that's why he
think
doesn't
this guy's
disclose
got
it.
maybe a couple months and he might end up on somebody's table. But anyway, that's what I wanted to share for that section of Good Vibes.
That's cool. That brings a laugh. I
I'm
like that.
sorry, I thought that was so freaking funny.
Oh,
Okay,
look at this.
look at this. Okay, this was sent to us. So for our audiences, like I said earlier in the show, we put out an announcement last week on our Facebook for submissions to our Good Vibes segment. And we got one. And I was so excited. I did like a squeak because I didn't think anybody was going to send us anything. At least not the first week.
Right.
And then Aaron sent this to us. And Aaron is a friend of Jace's. You've known each other. You went to South Lyon High School together?
We went to
Is
South
that what
Lyon
it
High
is?
School together, yes.
Okay, so let me read to you what Aaron wrote. And look at these babies. Look at them. Oh my gosh.
They're unbelievable.
They're just so cute. Look
I
at
know.
those eyes. Look at that. Okay, so Erin says to us, she writes, "Hello. Always looking for ways to spread love and positivity. 3 years ago, I earned my wildlife rehabilitator licensure through the Michigan DNR and started a fawn rescue. Every spring, many fawns end up orphaned and or injured for various reasons. I spend the summer months nursing babies back to health, teaching them to forage, and preparing them for release in the wild, where they're meant to be." Heart. "It's a privilege to help these babies get a second chance at life. Thanks for all you folks do for the marginalized and oppressed. I love your passion and enthusiasm, especially in this very intolerant community. And hello to my co-SLH grad, Jace. Warm regards, Erin, she, her, hers."
Yeah.
Thank you, Erin.
Aaron
Oh
Aaron
my
is
gosh.
a beautiful soul. Erin has always been a beautiful soul. So this.
And she
this-
has the best job in the world, apparently. I would do this all day long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Overtime, you don't even need to pay me. I mean, look.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. So thank you so very much, Erin, for submitting that to us. If you would like to submit something to us for our Good Vibes segment, which we are going to be doing regularly here on this show, every episode, send it to the stirpod@proton.me. What we ask you to do is just include your first name, your pronouns. Send us, we love pictures, but if you don't have pictures, you can always send us just a message of something that you're happy about, a charity that you're involved in, something, your kid did that was really awesome, just something that gives off good feelings. So, and also, if you don't mind, if you could say, with your pronouns, say where you're from, like just your city or township as well. So they hope that more people will send stuff into us, because we love ending our show on this note.
Yeah. This is great.
Makes us happy.
This is great.
Makes us happy.
And you know what? I just have to say, this has been a great first. It's been a
It's
great
so
first
good.
podcast. I'm really excited for what we're going to be bringing to people, and I'm just excited to be with you ladies.
I'm so excited to be with the both of you two. I think this is just
It's
like
gonna be great.
manifesting right now. We have had this dream for so long, and
Right.
the fates brought us together to
Yeah.
do this and really get our voices out there and be a voice for other people as well. So we thank you so much today, all of you, for joining us on The Stir. Tune in next time, and
Yeah. We'll see you then.
we'll see you then.
Peace.
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 Peace.